Last time we created the Sodalite Spark component. Well, today we're stepping it up. What if you can weave GemDuo and Silky beads together to create something so elegant that it feels like fabric? Let's make the Twilight Silks Bracelet. Hey there, I'm Dina. In this tutorial, I'll show you step by step how to create the Twilight Silks Bracelet using GemDuo and Silky beads from the Princess Blue collection by Gemstone Orphanage. It's a design that looks intricate, but with the right technique, you'll be surprised at how easily it comes together. To start off this bracelet, we're going to need to have 2 needles. I know I'm probably going to lose a couple of y'all, but promise it's going to be easy. 2 needles is not a bad thing, but 2 needles, I felt like it was going to be much easier to teach how to do this bracelet. You'll need 2 needles and then a length of thread. I have about 7 feet or so on this length of thread, so when you put it in half, then there's about 3.5 feet on each side, 3.5 to 4 feet. Maybe closer to 4 feet actually. So it's probably closer to 8 feet on this this length, but still doable, still easier to use than doing this with 1 needle itself. So what we're going to start off doing, and this is actually the second time I am recording this bracelet. I got almost all the way through the whole recording and then realized that I forgot the most important step ever. Double check your holes on your beads, please, when you have double holes, you know, multiple holes and everything on these beads, because the GemDuos have 2 sets of holes, so do the Silkies. So please double check that. I got almost through the whole bracelet itself, and then realized I had 1 Silky in particular that did not have holes to it. Let's see if I can find it. There you go. So you can see 1 hole on the right, and there's nothing on the left. That happens. It happens when during the process of making the beads and everything, so it does happen from time to time. So double check your holes on your beads before you start. So now we're going to start with our wire guard. So I'm going to put 1 needle on one side of the wire guard and then another needle on the other side. And if you don't want to use wire guards, it's perfectly fine. You can still continue on doing a similar fashion of what I'm doing. Just have to skip a couple of steps. And then we're going to put the wire guard on down in the center of the thread. I'm getting distracted because my daughter's cat's meowing like crazy outside the door. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go through one of our GemDuos. Now the GemDuos, if you're not familiar with them, like I said earlier, they do have 2 holes. There is a flat side to them as well, and then a dome side. So the flat side is always going to be on the bottom part of your bracelet, the dome side is going to be on the top. So I'm going to tell you which holes to go through, either the bottom or the top, and we will most likely always go through from the right to the left, depending on which bead or which direction that we're going in. So this one in particular, I have the right hand thread in my hand at the moment. So I'm going to put this one on in that direction. And then when you pull that down, it's going to sit something a little wonky like that, but just pick up your left hand. Oh, you couldn't see that. So it's going to sit a little wonky like that. Just pick up your left hand thread and then just go through that same hole, but going from the left to the right. This will be one of the very few times that we're doing something like that. And then when you get everything pulled down, and it doesn't have to be exactly in the center of your thread, you're just trying to get it as close as you can to the center. And I gotta get my picture back up so I can see what I'm doing next. Since I had to take the whole bracelet apart, I had to take a picture before I did it, so I know I'm doing the right thing this time. Alright, so we're going to pick up our right hand thread again. And what we're going to do is we're going to do a couple of rounds of adding some GemDuos on either side with 1 down in the center as well. We're just going to do a couple of rounds of that, and then once we get a couple of them done, then we're going to start adding in our Silkies around the edge of it. So to get to where we can add the next GemDuo, we need to pick up a 15, 3 of our 11s. Now these are the silver lined 11s that come in the mixture in the kit, in the Gemstone Orphanage kit. And then another one of your 15s. We're going to pick up another one of our GemDuos, bottom hole from the right to the left. And then we're going to go through the top hole from the right to the left of this GemDuo. When you do that, this thread now becomes your left-hand thread. So pick up your old left-hand thread. Trying to get it in my hands. And then we're going to do the same thing. We're going to pick up a 15, 3 11s, a 15. At this GemDuo, we're going to pick up the top hole from the right to the left. And then we're going to go through that same hole that we just went through with the previous right-hand thread, and then proceed through the GemDuo that is on the right-hand side. If you can catch on to it all in one swoop, that's great. If not, then just take one bead at a time. Then when you pull this down, you now have your bead sitting like this. So to get from this hole down here in this GemDuo to the hole up here at the top, we're going to add 4 of our seed beads. They're going to be 4 11-ohs. And then I'm going to go and do just that. Go from the bottom hole to the top hole. Now we need to add one of our GemDuos here in the center. So when we're beading from the right towards the left, we always go through the bottom hole from the right side to the left side. When we're beading from the left towards the right, then you go through the top hole from the right side to the left side. Alright, so this one goes in, go straight through the left-hand side, so now this thread becomes your new left-hand thread. Now if you remember correctly, this old left-hand thread never went through the outer hole over here. And of course I have it on the wrong side of the beadwork, so I'm going to go through the beadwork just so I can show you what's going on. So this one is coming out of this hole right here on this GemDuo. So it needs to get to the outside first. So make sure you always get to the outside, or you'll have a thread path either on the back or the front of your work. Probably wouldn't be that big of a deal if it was on the backhand side, but it looks nicer this way. Now we're going to do the same thing that we did on the right hand side, so pick up 4 of your 11-ohs. We're coming out of this hole down here, and then we're going to go up here to this hole. We're going to go straight across, so we're coming out, but don't go back through any of the 11-ohs. You just want to be coming out of the GemDuo. And then this ends up being the new right hand side. And notice how I'm doing everything that I can with the right hand side thread, then putting it down once it gets over to my new left hand side thread, and then I pick up the old left hand side thread and then come back, make that my new right hand side, and then continue on until I have to put it down again. It just makes it a little bit faster, a little bit easier for you to bead in that way. So now in between this portion, we need to be able to add another one of these guys. Now we're going to add a different amount of beads than what we did here, just because it's a little bit closer together in that this has the wire guard and everything attached to it. So this part, we're only going to pick up 1 15, 2 11s, and 1 15. And then we're going to pick up our next GemDuo. We're beading towards the left, so we're the bottom hole from the right to the left. And then we're going to go through that center, the upper hole of the center GemDuo. Then that becomes our new left-hand side thread. So now we need to do the same thing with the old left-hand side thread. So pick up a 15, 2 11s, and a 15. And then we're beading from the left to the right, So we need to pick up our next GemDuo from the top hole from the right to the left hand side, and then go ahead and bead straight across. So go through that upper hole of the middle GemDuo plus the lower hole of the GemDuo that's on the right hand side. Then this becomes your new right hand side thread. And we are almost to the point where we're going to start adding some of our silkies. So we're almost there. Now this particular one, we're going to have some beads that it's going to jump from here to our silky that's going to be up here. So I'm not going to add any extra beads in this little section right here. When we come back and we start doing the edge of it, that's when we're going to add some extra beads to it. So for this particular section, I'm just going to jump straight to the next hole of this GemDuo on the right hand side. Now you're set up to add your one in the center. We're still beading to the right, or to the left, still beading to the left, so we're going through the bottom hole from the right to the left. Proceed on through the GemDuo on the left hand side. Now pick up your left hand thread. Don't forget, you got to go through this hole down here on this GemDuo, because your thread is coming out of the center one right now, and we never went through that outer hole yet. So we got to do that first without wrapping around anything. There we go. Maybe. Stop it. Alright. And then now we need to get set up to where we're coming out of this hole up here. So all you have to do is just go through, just jump up to that top hole, go through the center one, and come out the right hand side. So that is how you start your bracelet. So I will let you get caught up to this, since that was a pretty long introduction. I'll let you get caught up to this portion of it, and then meet me back and we'll start adding some of our GemDuos with the silkies. So now let's start adding some of our silkies. So we need to make sure that we have this center GemDuo here. When we have the center one sticking out like this is when we know that we're going to be adding silkies until we run out. Now, I am using all 24 of my silkies. Luckily, I only had the one that had the clog hold to it, so I'm going to use all remaining 24 of the silkies. On the GemDuos themselves that came with the kit, you got 50 of the GemDuos. I'm actually using 46 of them. I have 4 of them left over. This will end up being around 6 1/4, a flat 6 1/4 length of a bracelet. If you're needing something longer than that, you can always add more GemDuos if you have some in your stock. You can add more in this fashion down here on the bottom. So instead of doing this, where we're adding the silkies, you can add some more GemDuos if you have some in your stock. Or you can skip doing the wire guard down here, and you can do some like double right angle weave down here and make yourself a little bit longer. So that's a couple of options for you just in case. So let's go ahead and start adding our silkies. To do that, we are coming out of the right hand side over here, because I always start off with the right hand thread. We're going to pick up a 15, a silky, same thing. If we're beading from the right to the left, we're going to go through the bottom hole from the right to the left of the silky. Going the opposite direction, we'll be going through the top hole. And then pick up a 15. And then you will need to, yep, I was looking at my picture, pick up the next GemDuo. Same thing, we're beading from the right to the left, so we go through the bottom hole. Once you have that on your thread, go ahead and go through that top hole of the middle GemDuo. That now becomes your new left-hand side thread. Whoops. And then I throw it all over the place and confuse everybody. Alright, so there we go. That's what it looks like. Now your old left-hand side thread is already coming out this outer hole, so we don't have to go through it again. We just need to add what we just added on the other side. So pick up a 15, your silky going from the top hole from the right to the left, another 15, and your next GemDuo going through the top hole from the right to the left. Then you want to go through that middle GemDuo where your thread is coming out currently and proceed on through the right hand side GemDuo, not going through any of the seed beads that are sitting there. And when you get this one pulled, you're set up for that. So now we need to get to this outer edge again. Now here again, I'm not going to add any extra seed beads like we did down here, because we're going to have some extra beads sitting out here in between the two silkies that are going to be sitting here. And so this thread's going to get covered up by other beads. So I'm just going to go directly through to the outer edge hole, or the upper hole of this GemDuo, to get set up to add my middle GemDuo again. We're beading from the right to the left, so we're going through the bottom hole, and then we're going to go through the GemDuo's upper hole on the left. That's your new left hand thread. Pick up your old left hand thread. Now this one is set up to where we have to go through, make sure I have this in the right direction here. This one's set up to where we have to go through that old outer hole again, because it's only coming out of this middle GemDuo right now. So we need to proceed through the outer hole of the left hand bead first to get set up to be able to get this thread over to the right hand side. So we're going to do the same thing we did over here. Go through the upper hole of the left hand GemDuo, the lower hole of the center GemDuo, and the upper hole of the right hand GemDuo. When you do that, you're now set up to have your new right hand thread. Then this is going to repeat. I'll do it a little bit faster this time. So a 15, a silky, a 15, a GemDuo, going through that upper hole up here at the top. This one on the left hand side, the old left hand bead is already set up on the outer edge, so I just need to pick up my 15 silky 15 and my next GemDuo. Proceed on through the middle, the right, and try not to skip it like I just did. And of course you're going to be difficult because I'm beading in a weird way. Okay, one bead at a time. And then I'll have to pull tight again on that thread. There you go. So now you're set up that way. So let's jump up to be able to add our middle GemDuo. And then we're beading from the left to the right to the left. So we're going to pick it up in the bottom hole, go through the next hole. Now this one is set up to where actually my thread's on the front this time, so that's good. Still coming out of this middle hole, so we're going to go out to the left hand side. Always want to make sure that your thread is always starting out on the outer side of your GemDuos. Then we're going to jump up to the upper hole of this GemDuo, go through the center, and go through the upper hole of the right hand side to get you set up again. So that's all you do for the remaining portion of the bracelet until you get all your silkies put on. So like I said, I'm going to use all 24, so I'll have 12 silkies that I'm going to end up putting on each side of the bracelet. Then after that, I'm going to come back and I'll show you exactly how to redo this because it's going to be in the opposite direction. So I'll meet you back in a few moments and we'll continue on. Alright, so we are down to the other end of the bracelet now. So equivalently, these two GemDuos are the same GemDuos as this right in here. So the next thing we need to do is add the GemDuo in the center. So this is the part where we don't have any beads, because on our next pass when we start doing the edges, we're going to add beads at that time. So this is where we're just going to take our right hand thread, go straight through the upper hole on the right hand GemDuo. Ooh, that was a squeak. That was interesting. That was my watch. Pick up your next GemDuo from the bottom hole, because we're going towards the left hand side, and then go through your left hand hole, upper hole of that GemDuo. And then pick up the left hand thread go up to the upper hole and just pass through the upper hole of that one, the lower hole of the middle one, and the upper hole of the right one. And then that gets us our next GemDuo on. So now this is where we're going to add the 4 sets of beads, or 4 quantity of beads, and it's going to be the 15, 2 of the 11s, and another 15. Then we're going to need to pick up another one of our GemDuos. We're on the right hand side, so it's the bottom hole again. Go through the upper hole of the middle GemDuo. And that becomes our new thread. Off to the left. Old thread on the left is now going to be the new right one. So a 15, 2 11s, a 15. Another GemDuo through the top hole. Then go through the middle GemDuo, as well as the one on the right. And then we're going to be set up to be able to add our last GemDuo. But before we do that, we add 4 of our 11s. This is the one where we add a little bit of seed beads around the side. So add 4 11s, go through the right hand hole. Then we can go ahead and add our last GemDuo, bottom hole. Go through the left hand side. Then let's get caught up with our left hand side. Get our old left thread over to the right to be our new right thread. And we are, let's see, we are underneath everything again. I forgot to put it towards the front. So we're going to bring the thread to the front so it's not wrapping around anything. And then we're going to go through that GemDuo that's on the left right here, because our thread's coming out of this middle one down here, the upper hole of the middle one. So we need to get this thread out to the left hand side first. We add our 4 seed beads off to the around the edge, and then go through that upper hole of that left bead, the bottom hole of the middle, upper hole of the right. Then this becomes our new right hand thread. So now we have that done. Now we need to get from the excuse me, from here to the upper hole. To do that, we're going to add our 5 beads, which is 1 15, 3 of our 11s, and 1 15. And just go through the upper hole up here at the top. That becomes our new left thread. Pick up your left one, do the same thing on this side. 15, 3 11s, 15. And hopefully you cannot hear my stomach growling. If you do, if you hear some like weird sounds, it's probably my stomach growling. That happens quite frequently for me after I eat just about anything and everything. That unfortunately is just one of my things that happens with my stomach. Alright, so now we're set up with a new left and right thread. Last thing we're going to do on this pass is go through our wire guard. You can go ahead and go through your wire guard twice if you like. On this side, we're going to be coming back down the bracelet at least one more time, so you can always go through it again at that time if you like. But I'm probably going to go ahead and go through it twice here. So I'm using the right hand thread, and then I'm just circling through the GemDuo there, the hole of the GemDuo. So my right hand thread started off as the right hand, and it is ending as the right hand. So this is basically just circling through. I'm going to take the left hand thread and do the same thing. Go up the left hand side of the wire guard this time. Go down the right hand side. Go through the upper hole of that GemDuo. And now my left hand thread is still my left hand thread. Making sure I'm going through the GemDuo, I'm not missing it. And then making sure all my threads are staying in the channel up here at the top of the wire guard. And we are set up with the first pass of our bracelet. So I'll let you get caught up with that part. Hopefully my stomach will stop growling here in a minute, and then we'll come back and we will do the bead work down the center of the bracelet. So now we're going to work on the seed beaded portion down the center of the bracelet. And this is just to help kind of break up the stark white color of the GemDuos. It looks just as beautiful if you don't do this section and then you just go and you skip this and you just do the parts around the edge. It's going to look just as beautiful. I just felt like sometimes with this white, it's just a very stark difference. You've got bright white and then you have really dark beads along the edge. So one way or another, it's going to look pretty. So you can either do this part or you can skip it. But I'm going to go ahead and do it, show you how to do it. So I'm taking the left hand thread that is down here at the end. I'm going to go through and follow my thread path. I'm going to go back through the 15, the 311s, and the 15 over here on the left hand side. And I'm just going to use the one thread on this pass. Then I'm going to proceed through that first GemDuo. I'm going to be kind of flipping it left and right here, so hopefully I'm not losing anybody. And then I'm going to proceed through the middle GemDuo, and then come out in between the middle one and the one that's on the right hand side. Now I'm going to start adding my seed beads. Now those first couple of sections, we're just going to do seed beads. Once we start getting into here, I'll show you the pattern that where I'm going to be adding some of our metal flowers that came in the kit itself as well. So in this part, I'm going to pick up 5 of my 11-Os. I'm going to do 1 of the silver line blues, 3 of the dark blue color, and if I remember correctly, I think it's Durcoat galvanized navy, but I'll have all the colors listed down in the description below, so that way if you need to, if you are not able to get the kit and you're following along at home, then you can use the same colors that I have. So, and then put on another silver lined color. So we're coming out of this hole here in the middle of this GemDuo. We're going to jump over to this hole up here and go through that middle GemDuo, going from the left side to the right side, or how I have it right now, from the top to the bottom. So we're going through like that. When you pull that down, that will put your beads just hanging out on top of your GemDuos. So now we need to get set up to get over here to this hole. So just follow your thread path again. Go through the next hole of this next GemDuo that's on the right or on the bottom, depending on how you're looking at it right now. Go through your 15 to 11s and 15 to get you over here to this next GemDuo. And then we're going to go through that hole of the GemDuo, and now we're set up again for our next seed bead section. So that's going to be an 11, or the silver lined, 3 of the dark blue, and 1 of the silver lined again. And then you skip over, we're coming out of this one right here, and then we're going to skip over to this one. And if you go ahead and you go through both the middle and the outer GemDuo at the same time, that's perfectly fine to do because that's the route that we're going to go. And then now you have those seed beads sitting there. So to get yourself set up for the next one, we're going to do 1 more seed bead one, and then we're going to start adding our flowers after that. Now you can add as many flowers as you want to here in the center. You can do all flowers if you wanted to. You can do all seed beads if you want to. I just felt like adding the flowers, it gave it a little bit more of a silver color there in the center of the bracelet. So this one's going to be the next of our seed beads. And we're going to go through that center one again. I'm going to try to see if I can catch on to the one that's down below it or on the right hand side. And then now that one's set up. And then now I'll show you the pattern for the metal beads, which is going to be slightly different. And there's an extra step with the metal bead ones too that I would suggest. You don't have to do, but I suggest to do it. So on the metal beads, we're going to pick up 2 of the dark blue ones, 1 of the metal beads. Now the metal bead itself, it is a 5-point flower. So there is 1 hole that comes out at the point of one of the flowers, then the opposite side comes out in between the 2 flowers, or the 2 petals right there. If that bothers you to where you want to make sure that your flowers are going in the same direction throughout the whole bracelet, make sure you pick it up in the correct direction and or in the same direction. If that doesn't bother you, like it's not going to bother me one bit, then I'm just going to pick up my flowers and just go. After your flower, go ahead and pick up 2 more seed beads. So we have 2 of the dark blue, the flower, and then 2 more dark blue. Then you're following the same thread path, going up to that next hole there in the center. Go ahead and go back through the one on the right hand side, or the bottom, if you can. Now this second step that I would suggest, since it is a metal bead and it's a little bit heavier than the seed beads, I would go back through this diamond duo. So we're coming out of this hole right here. I'm going to just follow my thread path again, come out through the center right there. So before you get to the center, GemDuo, and then I'm going to go through these beads one more time. So the 2 11s, the metal bead, and then the 2 11s. And then after that, it's just continue on like normal. So once you have 2 thread paths through there, just go back through your center, GemDuo, which is kind of covered up at the moment, and then come out the edge. And then you would proceed through the 15, and then the Silky, and the 15. My thread just wrapped around everything, so there we go. So now you have your flower on. So that's what I'm going to end up doing, is go down the middle portion here, and I'm going to do every other. So I started off with the seed beads, then I'm going to do a flower. So the next one's going to be seed beads, flower, so on and so forth. Once I get back down over here off to this side, we're going to end with seed beads, and then we have 2 more rounds of seed beads to add, just like we did over here on this side. So go ahead and complete that pattern down to the other end. Meet me back and I'll show you what to do next. Alright, so take 2 on this outer edge of the bracelet. I had done one recording of this just a minute ago and then realized that things weren't working right, so I'm going to change up the pattern. So you're not going to see that part of the recording, but this is take 2 for me. I didn't go all the way back through to the very beginning of where I started that previous clip, but I'm going to tell you how I ended up over here off to the side, coming out of this 15-0 sitting right here. To start off with, your needle and thread should be coming out in between these 2 GemDuos right here, and at this hole, after you went through and added your last round of your seed beads here. You should be coming out over here. You're going to proceed through the upper hole of this GemDuo right here. Then you're going to go through the 15, the 3 11s, the 15. Go ahead and go through the hole of this topmost GemDuo. Then we're going to go through the wire guard one more time, because if you remember, we only have 1 thread path through this part of the wire guard. So go ahead and put another thread path through the wire guard. End up going back through the GemDuo. Go through the 15, the 3 11s, the 15, and we're not going to go through the GemDuos anymore. We're just going to proceed down the edge of these seed beads. So go through these 4 seed beads, then go through your 15, your 2 11s, and your 15, and then you'll be set to where I'm at. So I'll give you just a moment to get caught up to that spot. If you need to, you can always pause me, and then that way you can get caught up and then come back. Alright, so to get from that seed bead to the upper hole of the, what are these, silkies, we're going to have to add 5 of our seed beads. So pick up 5 of our 11-ohs, and then we'll go straight to that upper hole, or that outer hole of our silky that's sitting there. Now I'm continuing to use the small thread, which is the same thread that I've used down the center here. Once I run out of this part, because the outer edge on this side is going to be the same pattern that's over here on this side, but once I run out of this thread, then I'm going to pick up the thread that we left off down here on the other end of the bracelet, and then I'm going to go back through and finish it off. I'm also going to put a second thread path through all of these beads around the edge, just to make sure that if it gets caught on anything when somebody's wearing it or anything like that, it has a lesser chance of breaking off. So to start off with, we're going to be adding our moonstone rounds, which are 4mm rounds, and then some of these crystals that are sitting here as well. The moonstones are going to go right here where the seed beads are at. So we'll have a moonstone here, and then we'll have a crystal with our flowers, then a moonstone crystal, and so on and so forth, all the way down in between all of our silkies. Once you get back down over here on this side, it's going to be the same pattern that we just did. So add your 5 seed beads, go around the edge, you can go around the wire guard again if you'd like to, and then continue on until you run out of thread. Once you do, like I said, pick up this other one and then start doing and complete the rest of the bracelet. So for the moonstones, we're going to pick up, and nope, wait, this is where I changed it up. We're going to pick up a 15, a moonstone, and a 15. Now if you don't have the moonstones or the crystals, moonstones are 4mm, so any type of 4mm round or 4mm pearl would work just as fine. These crystals are somewhere around a 5 or a 6mm in width, so something like that would work just as fine as well. So we have a 15, moonstone 15, and then just go through the next silky. For the crystals, we're going to pick up an 11, a crystal, and an 11, and then go through the next silky. So then your next one's going to be a moonstone. So you got your 15s and your moonstones, and then crystals. So you have 11s and crystals. Now what I ended up doing on the first round was that I used the 15s with the crystals, but I did not realize until I had gotten a little bit further down that some of my 15s were getting stuck in the crystals. So if that happens, then just change up your bead size. Sometimes you have to use 2 11s, or 2 15s, or whatever ends up working. Sometimes you'll have to pull out your 8s and use 8s instead. But just go ahead and continue this pattern all the way down to the edge of the bracelet. Use up the rest of this thread, tie it off once you get down to the end, pick up your next one, do the same thing on this side, and then, like I said, go back through all of these beads at least one more time. Once you get all that done, tie off your thread, meet me back, and I'll show you how to add the, what are we using, toggle clasp that came with the kit. And let's get this bracelet finished. So this is what your bracelet should look like, something similar to this if you're following the same patterns that I did. So let's add our toggle clasp. So this is the clasp, the toggle that came in the Princess Blue collection with Gemstone Orphanage. So we're gonna, this is the jump ring that came with the clasp itself, so I just left it on there. I'm gonna put this on one side. Just opened up the jump ring and then slide that on. And then the other side, you can do a couple of different things. I went ahead and just got out one little small 4mm jump ring. And then I got out also a larger 5x7mm oval jump ring. I like to have a little bit of room when I'm using toggles, so that way it has enough room for the bar to be able to go through the toggle and be able to clasp it in the correct way, but not too much room to where it'll fall off somebody's wrist. So it's one of those things that you just have to kind of play around with the sizing and everything and see what works best for you if you're making this for you. If you're making it for a friend, you can always put a lobster clasp on if you'd like, and then put an extender chain on down at the bottom, and then that way it can be one of those that could be a little bit versatile as far as size is concerned. And then I want to make sure that I'm putting this on to where it'll be front facing. I think I have it on right. And then close that guy up. Hopefully this has been in focus because I was concentrating on making sure that I was not going to throw jump rings around like I usually do. So let's give it a try on. And of course it's going to cause problems. Why would it not cause problems? Because you're recording, Nina. Alright, getting a hold of the toggle. And then getting the, let's see, hold on to the stem. Toggles are a little bit more difficult for me. I usually use a lot of magnetic clasps on my bracelets because of that. So there is your toggle. So it fits on pretty well. So there is our bracelet that we made from the Gemstone Orphanage's, that didn't come out right, the Gemstone Orphanage Princess Blue collection with the Sodalite. And that's the Twilight Silks Bracelet. An elegant piece that feels as smooth on the skin as silk. Next time, we'll be creating my last design from the Princess Blue collection, highlighting my gemstone orphan, Princess Dina. You won't want to miss this. So if you enjoyed this tutorial, hit like, subscribe, and tell me in the comments. Would you wear this Twilight Silks as an everyday bracelet, or save it for something special? I'd love to know. What if you can weave GemDuo and Silky beads together into something that creates something that's, I don't know, we're weaving it to something. What if you can weave GemDuo and Silky beads together into something so elegant it looks, and it doesn't look like fabric, it feels like fabric. Whew, okay, we got this. Last time now I can't stop laughing. Is that even what I was going to say? It's going to be a 5-minute long clip. What if... Today we're going to be making the Twilight something. What am I calling it? Oh my gosh. Okay, let's make Twilight Silks Bracelet. Apparently I'm giving you Steve plenty of little bloopers. And that's the Twilight Silks Bracelet. I look down. Okay, now it's a 10-minute long clip.